So hey y'all, I'm back with another video. So tonight's video is yet again another Chioma Chats video podcast edition. So by the title, we're going to be talking about Carlee Russell being outed for fabricating her abduction story. This has been the most requested, most viral, and most newsworthy story in the media for honestly almost the past 2 weeks. And I was waiting to cover this because I wanted to get all of the information first and then make my commentary. I really don't like covering stories about Black women in distress, whether it's death, abduction, being assaulted in a violent way, and so forth. Hence why you've never really seen me cover stories about people passing unless it is celebrity news, and I still try to stay away from that because it really does trigger me. I really don't do well with death, y'all. So for this story in particular, I think the whole entire world is triggered because this really catapulted into national news. So here are the spark notes. Carlee Russell is a 25-year-old resident of Hoover, Alabama. She's a college graduate, she was in her nursing program, and it looks like she came from a good home and background. Carlee actually just turned 26 years old a few days ago, and that's crazy because we are literally like the same person. I just had my 26th birthday last week as well, so this story is very personal to me because when I see my peers doing things, it resonates with the theme of my channel. So by now, I'm pretty sure we all know what happened. Carlee essentially fabricated a story about her abduction, caused a nationwide search and concern, and then we find out that not only was she okay, but all of the claims that she made didn't even add up. Carlee reported seeing a toddler wandering on the highway at night, which prompted her to make a police call, and I personally feel like that's why this went viral. You not only have police looking for this young woman, but also a child who was said to be wandering a major interstate highway at night while only in a diaper. Now, I don't know why she thought this would make sense, but I can resonate with the idea that most people are not thinking logically when their emotions are high. It has come out that the alleged reason that Carlee did this was to piss off her boyfriend, get attention from her boyfriend, and I guess make him believe something was wrong with her so he could feel bad for whatever it is that he did. So I don't believe Carlee was thinking thoroughly when she did this. I've been there. A man makes you mad. You want him to feel what you feel, so you do something to get a rise out of him and or entice him, which is childish, but a lot of us have done it. But I'm sorry, me nor anybody that I know have ever even thought to call the police, make a false police report, and go as far as faking an abduction. So I know a lot of y'all have been waiting for me to talk about this. To be very honest, I don't have much to say that isn't different than what most commentators and social media users have already said, but I'll still give a little piece of my mind. So I've broken this video down into four main talking points. So without further ado, let's get right into this video. So my first point is discussing the police call and the police report and what I thought was nutty about this. Carlee didn't sound that believable to me. I felt like she sounded like she was making things up as she goes. I will say that she didn't sound like she was under mental distress, but I don't think there's a distinct sound to mental distress.
Hi, I am on Interstate 459, and there is a kid just walking by themselves.
Oh, hold on. Where on 459 are you?
I'm right next to the exit 10 by the Hoover Met, like to get off by the Hoover Met.
The dispatcher then shoots off a round of questions.
Or how old do they look?
Like a toddler, like maybe like 3 or 4.
Did you pull over with them? Are you still with them?
Yes.
Okay, are you with the child right now?
No, I'm not. I didn't get out of the car. I can see them though.
Do you mind staying and keeping an eye on them until we get there?
Yeah, sure, yeah.
This interstate surveillance video shows the moments Carlee was on the phone with 911.
Is it male or female?
I think it's a boy, a little boy.
White male? Okay, is he wearing clothes?
Yes.
Okay. What is he wearing?
It's a white t-shirt, and it doesn't look like he has any pants on. It looks like a diaper.
Hoover Police Chief Nicholas Durzis says nobody else that night reported seeing a child on I-459.
The police call being released is a lot of the reason why people were very upset because you can tell she really thought this through while also not thinking this through. What I mean by that is she thought about how something like this could affect her man and her relationship, but she didn't think about the repercussions of her actions. She thought about what to say and do to pull on the heartstrings and concern of her community, but didn't think about the aftermath of what would happen when people found out this isn't true. She thought about the pain and the agony her boyfriend would feel and the satisfaction she would get from his distress, but didn't think about the reality of how how turned off he would be once all of this came to light. What I really disliked about this police phone call was the fact that she subjected an inexistent baby to trauma. Like, you basically created an imaginary child and forced him to be a victim, and that's very concerning to me. Now, there's a lot of people who spoke about her mental state and how we should be very cognizant of why she may have done this. We should be very aware and consider her mentality during this time. And although I do think it is fair to highlight mental health, I don't think mental health always plays a role. This is a very severe, unpopular opinion, but I feel like the excuse of mental health has been weaponized so much because everybody wants to be oppressed, marginalized, and have something wrong with them. Not everybody is suffering from mental health. I do think that everybody has episodes or periods within their life in which their mental health fluctuates. I do believe that people have episodes of depression, people do get anxiety, people do have wavering levels of their mental emotions, but I don't think that everybody is diagnosed with this. Mental health is serious, but I think we've gotten to the point where the internet has made everybody feel like they have a mental health issue. Personally, for me, I don't think there's anything wrong with me mentally. I know at some point, especially when I was going through a heartbreak, I was completely mentally distraught for a very long time, but I was able to get myself out of that. And I'm not saying that everybody can just heal in the way that I did, but I'm saying that that doesn't make me bipolar, that doesn't make me depressed overall, that doesn't make me have anger, that doesn't make me have body dysmorphia, all of which are different types of mental health problems. The internet has made a lot of y'all self-diagnose yourself when really there's nothing wrong with you. Some people are actually just dramatic, some people are very inconsiderate, some people are very unaccountable, some people are very mean, some people are very selfish, some people have a more laid-back personality, and that doesn't equate to mental health. The police phone call didn't give me mentally disturbed, and again, there's no way to tell, but I feel like if we use our common sense, we know that this was an isolated incident which she chose to come up with a lie, and it blew out of proportion. That is what happened. Now, my second point is the aftermath. So the aftermath was interesting because initially when the story hit, it seems like everybody on the internet, not just Black Twitter, but everybody was trying to find Carlee. There were search parties, there were donations, there was even a lady whose daughter was missing, and unfortunately she was found dead, but she led a lot of these search parties and online efforts to spread awareness and more. And so when it was determined that Carlee lied, the social media slander was extreme. Now, do I think it was excessive? To be honest, no, because when you get people that emotionally aroused and they find out that it's some type of hoax, I think everyone had a right to respond in an emotional way. There were many people who were angry. There were many people who were disappointed. I myself was in complete shock because I really wouldn't think to do something like this. I would never think that faking my abduction would bring any form of satisfaction to myself. I've done my fair share of crazy things. I remember I faked that I bought my ex his favorite pair of Jordans just to show up to his house and find him with another girl because I knew there was another girl with him, but he wanted to keep lying about it. And when I got there, I almost got away with it if it wasn't for one of my friends basically telling me to talk to him. And then he got into my car and opened the box to see nothing but a pair of Nike slides that I've been had. So trust me, I understand going out of my way to do something to get a rise out of a boyfriend. But when you take it to the extreme and you get other outside parties involved, such as your local police, such as your parents who are probably feeling like they're living their worst nightmare, such as your friends who care about you. And I noticed that Carlee is also in a very prestigious sorority, which leads me to believe that she has a lot of support. People have a right to feel away. I guess what irritated me was the amount of excuses that were given for people being upset. There were a lot of people saying that we need to have more grace and that we should not rule out the reasons why she could have done this. And do we need to have a lot more grace for Black women in general? Yes. Even I am called out for not giving a lot of Black women grace. But I think it comes to a point where you have to look at whether this was an innocent mistake or if this was intentional bullshit. This was intentional bullshit that caused harm to so many people who didn't even know this girl. So once the police did a press conference, they were able to debunk a lot of her lies. They were unable to locate a child. They pointed out the fact that nobody else called in to report a wandering toddler. They were able to search her phone and see that she was looking up how to place an Amber Alert. She also looked up the movie Taken, as well as other honestly incriminating searches. And again, if we use common sense and discernment, we all know that this isn't a case of mental health. This is a case of acting on extreme emotions and it going too far. I think the aftermath is warranted, and I'm surprised Carlee hasn't come out yet and said anything. I do think that she probably is mentally going through something now that this is blowing up in her face, because I can only imagine the entire world hating you, making memes about you, and let's be real, she lost everything. She's no longer in her relationship. She is not in nursing school. She was fired from her job. So yeah, it sucks right now. I would be depressed at this moment, but I don't think her actual mental state overall is that of somebody who has mental damage, and I wish that we would stop crediting everything to mental health. Some people make bad choices, and Carlee made a choice that will affect her for a very, very long time, and she's going to have to live with that. So my third point is what does this mean for real victims? So I saw many people putting out think pieces about how this affects the validity of real victim stories. And honestly, I'm like 50-50. Like, I'll be honest. Yes, of course, when people allocate resources to investigate a fabricated story, it does make people a bit more apprehensive to believe people. We've seen this in so many different ways. We have stories about women who accuse men of sexual assault and it's proven to be untrue. We have stories in which people literally over-exaggerate the extremity of their situation just for it to be a lie. I think the other side of this is the fact that there's race involved. It's not about Carlee Russell's situation making it harder for Black women to be believed when we are in these types of situations, because that has already existed. People are already racist. America is already racist. And this happened in Alabama. And if you're not from the United States, Alabama is probably one of the most racist states in the entire United States. So it was interesting to see how much attention was given to this. I think Black women are already marginalized. We are already oppressed. So I'm not too confident in saying that this is tipping the scale against us more than it already was, because there's so many times where these examples are very prominent. Now, this is probably a bad example, but about a month or two ago, I came home and I found what I thought was a bullet hole through my bedroom window. And I immediately called the police. I came home, it was almost like midnight. I waited almost an hour, probably over an hour, for the police to come to my apartment to get it checked out. So much so that I literally called the police back after waiting for them just to ask them what was taking so long. Now, this could have been because the police force in my city is understaffed, but I felt like, being that I was calling about something very serious, like a threat of violence on my life, that they would have shown up way sooner than what they did. And let's be real, 911 dispatchers in most cases can tell the demographics of the person that they speak to. I used to kind of get made fun of a little bit for sounding like a white girl, but I know I still sound like a Black woman. And so when the officer finally came an hour plus later, he didn't really take my claim that serious. He told me that somebody threw a rock at my window, but if I show y'all the picture, it looks like a bullet hole, doesn't it? Look at what's on your screen. So it didn't penetrate through both glasses, but just one, but I still feel like, how could this have happened? So that was alarming to me, because I felt like, what if it was truly a bullet hole? Would it have taken you guys an hour to come and save me? Whereas if I sounded different, or I presumably looked different, would y'all have been here faster? Obviously, I don't know the answer, but I feel like race always plays an issue when it comes to these topics, but America is already stuck in its ways where this situation isn't the reason why we are not believed. The racism already exists. The viewpoint of what a Black woman is already exists. And it's not just in the Justice Department and police forces. It's pretty much everywhere. I will say that what Carlee did was make people question more. And I don't think there's anything wrong with questioning the validity of a story, being that with the infiltration of social media and real people, you have to be careful of those who are simply doing things for clout and attention. We've seen so many examples of this. I saw a lot of people on social media condemning others for questioning the validity of this story and calling people insensitive, but I think because discernment goes out the window and emotion takes over in a lot of cases, especially in this generation, those of us who question stuff will always be called haters or insensitive or against women for using our common sense. Like, I feel like the first red flag was that there were not multiple reports of a wandering toddler on a major highway in the middle of Alabama. Somebody else would have had to have reported that, even if it was late at night. But that common sense factor that people possess, or shall I say don't possess, causes people to use emotion over intellect. Of course, we want to believe every Black woman's claim when they're in distress, because historically and presently, we are never believed. We don't get the same resources. Nobody jumps at the idea to save us. So I really do hope that Carlee really has thought this through, and when she issues her apology, because she better, I hope she understands the severity of her actions. Now, my fourth and final point is what should happen to Carlee. So first things first, she needs to apologize. I'm really shocked that she hasn't said anything. I do get the fact that, like I said earlier, she's probably under extreme stress, embarrassment, regret, but is she really? Apparently, Carlee has been active on Twitter, and she liked to tweet that people are not here for it. Somebody said, "Carlee, I ain't mad at you. As messed up as it sounds, you had to do what you needed to for self-preservation. The Bible says, you without sin shall cast the first stone. May the Lord be with you and all the families deeply affected by the situation." And then Carlee liked this message. So now I have to question, how bad does she really feel? Because this sounds like a very poor excuse. I don't think self-preservation warrants what exactly she did. And accountability is something that I try to enforce in women within today's society, specifically people around my age, because we're in an era where women kind of don't have to be accountable. There's like this running joke on Twitter that the last thing a woman will ever be is accountable, and I somewhat agree. Why are we using Bible verses to condone nonsense? And how does she even have mental capacity and audacity to even be on Twitter following what she's doing? Her city just literally used precious resources on her, and she has yet to come out with a formal apology, but has the nerve to be liking tweets and essentially still lying as if she feels that this is the right excuse for her. There was a comment comment that somebody made saying, "The Bible doesn't say anything about faking your kidnapping, having the whole world looking for you and worried for you. Meanwhile, you're safe and sound, breathing fine, and in no danger. Stop trying to justify her actions and make sense of them, because in all reality, what she did makes no sense. Don't bring hood or the Bible into it, because nothing about Christianity condones behaviors and actions that she has exhibited. But also, we don't know her and what she got going on and making it breaking anything we got going on, so just let it be and let God deal with her." Which I agree. She's gonna have to answer to God for this. And I hope that she's been praying and repenting, because why? Like, literally, because why? I usually say because no, but in this case, I wanna know because why. To end off, what I think should happen to Carlee is that she should be charged. I mean, even if she doesn't get indicted for this, community service hours, a hefty fine, and a public apology is the bare minimum that I want to see. Because no, I don't wanna see the demise of another Black woman, but I can't do this whole gender and race loyalty thing when it negatively affects other people. What I find crazy is that none of her pages on her Instagram, let alone her Twitter, have been privated. It's almost like she's embracing this lie and allowing the backlash to come, because a lot of people know that in 2023, you can capitalize off of being viral, going viral, and gaining this type of attention. It's funny because now she unliked the tweet, so she's aware of how selfish she's being and how this looks. But how much do you guys want to bet that she gets some type of benefit out of this? Whether it's some type of TV show or a web series or a podcast that she'll start so that she has something to sustain her, because at this moment, her career and her credibility is down the toilet. I also think that it's sick that the $63,000 that was raised for her is not being returned to the donors. Like, the Neighborhood Talk reported that if you donated money to help find Carlee Russell before we found out she was Carlee Smollett, then unfortunately for you, you won't be getting your money back. According to AL.com, Crime Stoppers of Metro Alabama reversed a decision to refund the $63,000 that was originally raised for Carlee when she first, quote unquote, disappeared. Initially, they said since she was found, they would give the money back. But now, since the investigation is still pending, despite the evidence that has already been presented to the public, they will keep the money. This investigation is still ongoing, and accordingly, there is no basis to refund any contributions at this time. Furthermore, the Hoover Police Department has not requested any donor contributions to be released or refunded, said the group, which collects anonymous tips about crime. "We would never use a crime as a fundraiser," Bob Kopis, executive director of Crime Stoppers of Metro Alabama, said. "This is strictly for the benefit of getting law enforcement the best information as quickly as possible. And also, it allows the public to get involved because they want to get involved. We had donations as large as $25,000 and as small as $5, Kopis said. But every dollar counted because it came from somebody who wanted to see Carlee home." Honestly, Carlee, you better donate that money to real causes about missing and exploited people. I also feel like she might keep it because, I mean, she's out of a job, career, and at the moment, her future doesn't look too bright. So a $60,000 boost is definitely needed, but be real, she shouldn't be allowed to keep the money. I'm not surprised though. People were calling her Carlee Smollett, referencing how actor Jussie Smollett pulled a similar stint by faking a homophobic attack against him a few years back. And I think if he was able to somewhat get off, I don't think she's gonna pay a true price for this. It's gone too viral. It's too exposed. She'll be fined, she'll serve community service, and because of the backlash that this got, I think her police district is very apprehensive to charge her and jail her. All in all, this entire situation was really an eye-opener to see how far people will go for attention. And I really pray for my generation to practice self-control and accountability. I've used this Bible verse a few times in my videos because it is my favorite Bible verse, and it is Galatians 5:22-23, and it says, "But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Against such things there is no law." And I feel like this generation is operating under no law because those fruits of the Spirit are not being practiced in a way that they should. Of course, all of us are sinners. We have good days, bad days, but when we are executing extremities that goes against the way that we're supposed to inherit the kingdom of God, if you're religious, it's pretty scary to know that this is what this generation is about. Emphasis on practicing self-control and really taking accountability for what you cause other during your lapse of judgment. So that is it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed. Please let me know your commentary on my commentary down below. What do you think? What do you know? Let me know. If you haven't already, please go stream my song Ceremony. It is out on all platforms. The link is down below. New music is dropping very soon. As y'all know, I said at the end of this month, and this month is wrapping up, so stay tuned. And last but not least, don't forget to follow me on all of my social media networks, and I will see y'all in my next video. Bye, y'all.
Talk to him like, I said 34 B cup, 30 in the deep cut, 20 baddies with me, QTM, yeah, we up, 16 tossing bottoms. what you want. Daddy on his chest.